Whenever I say the word potato now, I feel like I have to say it like from Lord of the Rings, like potato. Is that just me? What's up guys? It's me, Josh, the unofficial Disney guide, and today we're gonna start our culinary adventure and our cooking series, starting using our book, Eat Like Walt. Now in this book, it has some of the original recipes from the park and some of Walt's personal recipes that he used in his personal life, as well as the studio in Burbank and other places that are all correlated with Disney. But I thought, what better way to start out the series than with everybody's favorite carb, potatoes. So today, we're gonna start it off with Oscar's Potatoes. Carnation Cafe came along in 1955 on the opening day at the park, but it wasn't until 1967 that the Carnation Cafe, or back then, the Carnation Cafe ice cream parlor, got Oscar Martinez. Now, Oscar Martinez just retired in 2017, making him the longest tenured employee at Disneyland. That was 60 years. So he worked at Disneyland for 60 years, and still his recipe remains at the Carnation Cafe today. So let's get cooking. I've julienned a whole white onion. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take 2 tablespoons of 6 tablespoons. So just 2 tablespoons. I made that really hard to think about, don't know why. But you're just gonna get this going in a pan, all right? A 10-inch pan should work just nicely. Once that butter's going, you don't need it to be completely melted, but go ahead and throw your onions in there. Walt was a very simple man, and that's kind of what this recipe is too. It's a very simple recipe, but it's just the technique that's done in it is very good. I don't know why also I made that way harder at taking the onions off than I should have. I could have scraped it in there. All right, so yeah, we're just gonna cook these till they're soft. All right, so our butter's all melted and our onions are starting to get soft. And remember, we're just softening these, all right? So just work them a little bit. Don't stir it too much, but we want to get them soft. We're not trying to caramelize or anything like that. We're just getting them soft because we're gonna mix this all together eventually. Very simple recipe, very easy recipe. So if your cooking skills aren't very high, this one is a very easy recipe that you can start out on. All right, cool. So our onions are now soft. You can see that. They're not caramelized, they're soft. So we're gonna pull this off the heat, set that aside. And now, in the meantime, while those onions were going, you should have cut about 1/4-inch slices of your red potatoes. Now, the recipe calls for 2 pounds of red potatoes. So go ahead and get your 2 pounds of potatoes ready if you haven't already. You can totally do this, by the way, at the same time while your onions are going. And yes, we need new pans, I get it. All right, so 4 tablespoons of melted butter and high cholesterol later, and we're gonna go ahead and add our potatoes in there. Now see, that's the reason why right there you don't wanna add the potatoes and the onions at the same time, because the potato is gonna get crowded in the same pan. So we're doing these separately as the recipe calls for, so it's not too crowded, and the potatoes can do their thing on their own, and they're gonna brown here on their own. Let it sit. You need to constantly keep stirring it, especially when we're trying to get that crust. Now's the perfect time to make yourself like an old fashioned or a gin and tonic, something to pass the time, you know. And not that you have alcoholic problems or anything like me, but go ahead and do something else. Go read a book. Maybe go research the history of the potato or movies with potato references. All right, so I've gotten my potatoes to a point that I really like. I'm liking the color. It's not burnt, but it has a nice little brown on the sides. I could eat them right now, to be honest, but instead we're gonna add the onions back. Okay, so the softened onions we've been kind of letting just sit there, and it's on the butter, it's all soft, it's good. We're gonna add those back in, all right? So go ahead and give that a mix around, get the onions going back in there. Now, like I said, Walt was a very, very bland man. And so is the food at the park for the most part when it opened. So the only seasoning we're really actually gonna hit this with is a little salt and a little bit of pepper, all right? So go ahead and add the pepper, as much or as little as you like, enough to taste, basically. And you can balance it out always. And now you're gonna go ahead and Salt Bae this up a little bit here. You do your best Salt Bae impressions. Great time. All right, pan off the heat. So our potatoes and onions are together. It's off the heat. We got our casserole dish. You don't need something as fancy as this Le Creuset, but it never hurts to have a nice casserole dish. An 8x10 will work, 9x9, whatever you have. Go ahead, unbuttered, oiled, or anything like that. We're just gonna add these straight into our casserole dish. I could just eat this right now. Is this servings for 4 people or servings for 1? All right, so once you have that in there, Oscar says you have to do parchment paper first and then aluminum foil. So go ahead, hit it with your parchment paper and hit it with your aluminum foil. Now, if you're not trying to follow it exactly like Oscar's recipe and you're just, yeah, I just want potatoes, I'm sure you can just go ahead and use aluminum foil, that'll be fine, but we're following it as the book has it for us. Wow, it's kind of really hard to put it on there with this parchment paper, yeah? Okay, so we're gonna trim the parchment paper a bit. So, parchment paper, aluminum foil, just like the recipe says. All right, perfect. 400 degree oven, 40 minutes to an hour. All right. Oscar also says, don't step too far away from the oven because every 5 minutes you're gonna need to baste the entire thing with butter. So go ahead, get comfortable near the kitchen. Don't go out and about. Maybe make yourself another drink if you haven't already. All right, guys, we got it out of the oven. We've been basting it every 5 minutes. Now for the sneak peek. Not really a sneak peek because it's done. Oh, wow. Can we get a close-up of that? Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Oh. My fellow Disneylanders, potato lovers, and French fries alike, we have something special here. It's so good. It's so good. Everything just works. It, like the butteriness, the softness from the onions, and the sweetness from the onions, and then the potatoes, just nice and tender. It's so soft and fall apart. And there you have it, folks. Oscar's potatoes from the Carnation Cafe. Wow. Seriously, thanks for watching though, guys. Stay tuned, we got a lot more recipes coming. We're gonna keep reading through the book. We're gonna keep bringing out the recipes from old school Disneyland and some recipes you still see today. I'm really excited. And if you liked what you saw, go ahead and smash that like button, smash that subscribe button if you're on YouTube, and go ahead and give the Instagram a follow. And thanks for following the Unofficial Disney Guide.